This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
So it seems that Eddie Hearn, every turning that he looks to take, he's frozen out of the undisputed scene. In all weight divisions, he seems to be frozen out when it comes to undisputed. So Eddie Hearn will get his fighters to a certain point, but when it comes to the final hurdle, the undisputed fight, he's not allowed to put it on. The other networks, the other promoters seem to be blocking him. One example, of course, you've got Canelo Alvarez. Eddie Hearn, of course, was with Canelo Alvarez when he fought Billy Joe Saunders, when he fought Callum Smith. So he only needed one more belt. One more belt. And that's the one that Caleb Plant had, a PBC fighter. The only way Canelo could fight Caleb Plant was if Canelo went over to the PBC platform. Now, legally, down to due to the Muhammad Ali Act and all that kind of thing, Al Heyman and any representative of PBC can't say, well, you can't fight Caleb Plant unless you come over to our side of the street. They can't do that. So what you do is you tell Caleb Plant on the slide, we'd like you to say that you want to fight Canelo, but it has to be on our side of the street. It has to be on a PBC platform. That's how you get out of it. So therefore, it's Caleb Plant is the one blocking. But we all know behind the scenes, it's probably the PBC, right? So therefore, Eddie Hearn was frozen out of the picture. Now, you could look at that whole situation and say, well, maybe, just maybe, Eddie Hearn should have maybe tried to get Canelo to fight Caleb Plant before the undisputed fight. Maybe Canelo not fight Callum Smith or not fight Billy Joe Saunders beforehand and leave one of those to the final undisputed one. But instead, he didn't. He allowed Canelo to go belt collecting, needed one more belt. Well, sorry, Eddie, you can't put it on. And they blocked him from being at the press conferences and all that kind of stuff. They blocked Eddie Hearn. Fast forward to now, similar situation when it comes to Devin Haney. Devin Haney has been with Matchroom for quite some time. Eddie Hearn, unfortunately, hasn't been able to secure that big fight for Devin Haney. And not for the want of trying. Of course not. But when it comes to the undisputed fight between Devin Haney and George Kambosos Jr., again, whether you see George Kambosos Jr. as undisputed or whether you don't, at least the fight with Kambosos and Haney will settle it, won't it? And that's really all what boxing fans really want. But Eddie Hearn, well, he's not involved in it. Because Devin Haney, to get this fight with Kambosos, well, it appears that he had to sign a multi-fight deal with Top Rank and Lou DiBella. So Eddie Hearn, again, is now frozen out of the undisputed picture. Now, we're led to believe that Devin Haney and George Kambosos Jr. for the undisputed fight will be shown with on ESPN, so it will not be shown on DAZN in America. Outside of there, again, you have to look at it because obviously Bob Arum, he's ESPN. Lou DiBella has a deal with Probellum. Probellum have a deal with Eurosport, so maybe here in the UK we get to watch it on Eurosport. Maybe, potentially, right? But either way, it ain't going to be on DAZN. Either way, well, unless, of course, they strike up some kind of deal for UK rights that maybe DAZN can put it on. I don't know. Maybe Sky Sports could put it on. Because obviously, again, Bob Arum, he has a multi-fight deal with Sky Sports. So they could do it that way. But regardless, Eddie Hearn is not in the picture. Look at Jamel Charlo and Brian Castano. Their rematch for Undisputed. Eddie Hearn is not involved. Eddie Hearn was not allowed to be involved when it came to Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder. The PBC and everyone, Shelley Finkel, just made everything as difficult as they possibly could. Even turned down $100 million to fight Anthony Joshua for 2 fights. With the first fight being in America. Turned it down. So Eddie Hearn wasn't allowed to promote that particular fight. Eddie Hearn wasn't allowed to promote Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. They left it until the very last seconds for Tyson Fury to, oh, look, incidentally, the arbitrator has just ruled in Wilder's favour. I now have to go fight Deontay Wilder for a 3rd time. Makes you wonder if they deliberately knew that they were going to lose that arbitration. Maybe they did something behind the scenes, so as the arbitrator had no choice but to award the win for Deontay Wilder. And they played Eddie Hearn. Look at how Tyson Fury was laughing at Eddie Hearn after it. Are they all playing Eddie Hearn? Eddie Hearn would do all the donkey work, get his guys the belts, but when it comes to the final hurdle, he's not allowed it. So now he's going to have to look at, say, the heavyweight division, for example. He's going to have to hope and pray that Anthony Joshua defeats Usyk in a rematch. He's going to have to hope and pray that Dillian Whyte defeats Tyson Fury. Then maybe he's going to be in for a shout of Undisputed. But again, what's happening with Anthony Joshua and the UK broadcasting? Is it going to be on Sky Sports? Because again, if we're to believe Adam Smith of what he currently believes, he believes Anthony Joshua will sign a lifelong contract with Sky Sports. He will show loyalty to Sky Sports. So that would mean that as far as the UK is concerned, DAZN will not be showing that fight. Now, in America and elsewhere, sure, DAZN will show it. And yes, Eddie Hearn will be involved. Of course he would. But Eddie Hearn, he wants to be involved in an Undisputed fight, as in promoting it. But he also wants it on his platform all the way, DAZN. DAZN UK, DAZN America, DAZN Italy, etc., etc. That's what he wants. But it does appear that he's being frozen out at every hurdle. Why is it that no other promoter wants Eddie Hearn to be involved? Do they really hate him that much? Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video.